From the Studio 13 Studios in Splendora, Texas.
Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Hank's Think Tank. Got a big crowd in here today, but I think this is going to be a good call. Today I've got Precinct 1 Commissioner Robert Walker in, and to his immediate right I've got Heidi Smith. She is the assistant to the commissioner and handles things like large capital budgets and stuff like that. Also I've got Brian Luley in. He's a special projects coordinator, and he handles stuff like their big road projects and all that. Good morning, folks. How's it going?
Good morning.
Thanks for having us.
Y'all doing all right today?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Robert, I appreciate you coming in. I know you guys are busy. Commissioners are just busy people. It's hard to even stretch, an hour out of you guys.
Sure.
So the fact that you drove all the way down here means a lot to me and the public.
Sure.
So we appreciate it.
You bet.
I'm going to dive right in.
Yep.
So to start out with, give me just a little bit about your background and what led you to decide to run for the position of a commissioner. I can't even imagine. I wouldn't want your job. I just wouldn't want the job. It's just too tough.
Well, that's what people tell me all the time. You asked for it, so, But, well, actually, I was born and raised in Conroe.
Okay.
And attended Conroe High School and graduated and went to Sam Houston State. And my dad was a custom home builder. And anyway, so being brought up in Montgomery County, and I live out in Willis now from Conroe, me and my wife and Janet. We've been married 50 years this July.
It's a good long time.
We've got 2 kids and 4 grandchildren. And my family's been in Montgomery County on the same property I live on now since 1876. So I'm kind of born into it, and I got in the retail business, and I owned convenience stores and stuff, and then I opened up Walker's Feed and Farm Supply in 1993 when Commissioner Metter, who was my first cousin, was elected to office. Well, Hank, the way that works, I started following him and supporting him, and then I'm learning all the other politicians and what happens in politics, and next thing you know, I was basically retired, and they all came to me and said, "You're next." And I'm like, what do you mean I'm next? And they're like, when they all walked in my office at the feed store, it was interesting because they all come in and they shut the door, and I thought, oh boy, some of my family's in trouble, so.
Oh yeah.
But come to find out, they just wanted me in. And I prayed on it, and I thought about it for months, and it was at Christmas time. I was at a function Christmas, and I won't mention their name, but they walked up to me and they said, "What are you going to do?" And I said, "Well, every morning I wake up and I tell Janet I'm not doing it." But I did. So here we are. And I've been 4 years and 7 months. I'm in my second term. And I love Montgomery County, And the next thing I will say, too, when they were talking about who was also going to run, I thought, if you're going to run for a county commissioner's position, you need to be invested in the community and have been participating in the community, throughout the fair and all the different things that I have been a part of.
Oh, yeah.
You don't want somebody that's just wanting it for the job and that doesn't really realize what they're getting into. But basically, that's it, It's my home. It's been my home. I'll die on the same property everybody else died on in my family up till
Man,
now,
You're a true Texan.
I am.
I
am.
Not many of us left.
Yeah, I know it.
So
yeah,
we had a lot of people from other areas in.
There was 4 Walker brothers came here in 1870s, and 2 of them located out by the San Jacinto River, and us poor Walkers was out on Peach Creek on the east side of the county. So those out there, like Conroe come in, and they all got wealthy, and we had to just do what we have done, to make a living, but we've been very successful.
It sounds like you've done well.
Yeah, I've done well for myself.
Yeah.
But I've been blessed. Good Lord's taking care of me, and
there you go.
And our family's been there, and it's hard. I'm kin to everybody in Montgomery County, one way or the other.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Yep.
And it shows a lot of stability too. Being on the same property, married 50 years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. You just don't find many guys that stable anymore.
I know it.
Well,
and that's probably what's the biggest problem with our country is just what you said,
Yeah.
my old daddy always used to say, poor people have poor ways, and you just make your way through life and make it the best you can.
Builds character.
It does. That was the next part he said. He said, son, being poor builds character. And I said, Daddy, I've got lots of character.
Yeah.
It's time to make some money.
Time to eat.
And we were way far from being, we were kind of a middle class family, but
Oh yeah.
they did not. They were very, very good with the money, and we just didn't spend a lot
Yeah,
of it.
my dad was a welder,
Yeah.
and so we did all right. I mean,
Yeah.
we were able to eat and pay the bills, but
Yeah.
nobody was winning any awards, that's for sure.
No.
And never sat on Wall Street,
Yeah, no,
so I get it.
yeah.
All right, so tell me a little bit about the core responsibilities of being a commissioner.
Well,
what are you guys tasked to do?
Well, our basic function, if you will, is the road and bridge, making sure our roads are in Precinct 1 or the county as a whole
Mhm.
are safe for the public to drive on, and we do a lot of maintenance. Our main thing is road maintenance, We don't actually build roads except as my group of guys. I got about 65 men that work in the back, and we have a huge variety of different jobs that they do. We have a drainage crew. We have foremans and that work over. We have garbage guys that pick up trash and weed eat and gosh,
All
man.
outside tough work, man.
It is, and it's hot work right now. And we talk to them and we preach safety and be very careful. Don't get too hot because it's easy to get hot.
Oh yeah.
And but our responsibilities go further than that, because there's 4 of us over all the funding
Mhm.
in Montgomery County to make right decisions and good choices for all those funds. So.
Okay. So all those tax dollars that come in make one collective fund, and then you guys get to decide how it gets doled out,
Well,
what it
Yeah.
gets spent on, and
yeah,
what good things come together for the
yes,
county.
yeah, and we have a whole host of head of departments. Our budget officer and we're in contact with her on a regular basis. Making decisions. These guys are very aware of it. It's a big job. It's way more than what most people think. It's a 24-hour-a-day job.
Well, I would think so. If you've got a staff of 65, you got a lot going on.
Oh my gosh! Anytime a storm blows in, I've got one of the best mercy crews out there. They're on Johnny on the spot within about 45 minutes. If it's 2 a.m, it doesn't matter what time it is.
Right.
I got a gentleman that works for me that has been with the county 40-something years, and he's 50-something years old. So he is a whiz when it comes. He listens to that police radio. I'm not joking. 24 hours a day, it's on in his hand. He hears stuff.
Probably what you got to do.
Yeah, Pancho Vinarski,
Yeah.
and he is a great guy. And I mean, I lean on him a lot for all that stuff because somebody can text me in the middle of the night and say something about a road, something, and I'll call Pancho and say, "Hey, do you know?" He said, "Oh yeah, that's down there by Miss So and So's house. I know exactly where it's at." So it takes a whole army of people with our growth and what we've got going on. These guys, what they do on a day-to-day basis is so important.
Sure.
And we're just a small piece of it, but it's a busy deal.
Yeah.
And
I bet it is.
it's a fun deal. I tell people all the time, if I'm not having fun, I'm not here. But I'm still enjoying it. I work with a great crew at our office. Our guys that work out back that are the backbone of it, that are out there. We get emails, Heidi does all the time, from people saying how great our people are out there on the street, and tell them they're doing a good job. They're all courteous, and and that's that's the way
Yeah.
I do it.
I get it.
That's the way I do it.
You had mentioned something about hurricanes and such, or events. How much of your precinct is forested? Any idea?
Well, we have the national forest.
Yeah, we were looking at the map earlier.
Yes.
And, some of it's national forest, some of
yeah.
it's lake.
Yeah, and the lake splits it half and half.
It seems like that would make it a little extra tough with with the tall canopies and everything getting blown down.
We had some damage a couple of days ago, some out on Calvary Road and out there on the north end of the lake. It's and our guys are right out there. Get home at 5 o'clock in the morning, and it's just they're picking up and cleaning up. The fire departments help us tremendously, though.
Awesome.
Mhm.
Yeah. Y'all have an ESD out there? Is that
Yes, ESD one.
ESD one?
I was a
Okay.
commissioner there for about 6 years,
Really?
back before I got into
Yeah.
this commissioner's job. Yeah.
Well, that's cool.
You know, and I was law enforcement back in '89. I graduated from Montgomery County Academy,
Yeah.
and I went to work with Joe Corley back in those days at the academy.
Well, that's
Yeah.
a name
Back
from
when
the
I had
past.
red hair and a dark red mustache. you
Yeah.
know, but yeah, we had a good. I enjoyed it. It was something I always wanted to do, but it just wasn't something I did for a living. I was a reserve deputy,
Okay.
and anyway, yeah.
Yeah.
So I wore lots of different hats in my lifetime of what I've done. You know.
I bet you got some good stories.
Oh my gosh.
We're gonna
yeah.
have to sit down and
Yeah,
talk
we
about some
can't.
of
We
those.
don't have time for it. I promise you.
I'd love to though. That'd be
Yeah.
awesome. Okay. Are there any top priorities that you're working on right now? Anything big that the commissioner's office is just knocking out of the park?
Well, I guess our biggest project right now, and these guys will all agree, because our whole team up front is our road bond. That
Okay.
we just were lucky enough that the community voted to allow us to do it. It was a tough vote, you know, because nobody, you know, the monies that we're going to get $120 million a piece.
Yeah, it was 480 total, wasn't it?
That's right.
Yeah.
And there's 4 commissioners, so we're all going to get a piece of that. But with, you know, we're in the top, I think 9 in the country is the fastest growing county in the United States.
Yeah.
And
Wow.
Harris
It's
County,
hard to believe.
Harris County's number
Still
1.
blows me away.
You know, Harris County bumps pushing on us right
Oh, yeah.
now. And all that extra overflow is running to us.
Oh yeah.
And gosh, I have a great PowerPoint I put out there. But yeah, this road bond is huge, because what we're doing now with our monies, and most all the other commissioners are too, are just turning 2-lane roads to 4-lane,
Okay.
and then just rehabbing some of them and making them bigger and better out in the country with shoulders and overlaying them and all that.
Right.
But we do have roads that are go through the woods that it's you know, it's just going to take a lot of money to build a whole new road and acquire
Sure.
properties and all that. But
Yeah.
if it's amazing to me, and it's a blessing, because we've got the money now to help improve our mobility throughout the county, as well as Precinct 1.
I'll tell you what was smart business, and not a lot of people know this, and I don't think it was publicized enough prior to the vote.
Yeah.
But that whole bond package is being paid for by growth.
That's correct.
So it's not increasing tax dollars. It's
Absolutely
not costing us any extra money.
No, that's right.
Slick.
And we
That's what happens when you hire good people.
we pushed it to be that way.
Yeah.
You know, that's something that my goal is to never raise, you know, taxes on anybody. Because,
Sure.
But you know, an interesting fact, and this is straight from our county attorney, B.D. Griffin. You know, it
Oh, yeah.
takes a certain house of value to meet our services that the county provides.
Mhm.
Our ESDs, the hospital district, and all the other things.
School systems.
Schools, all taxes and all that. So that home used to be about $150,000. You know, your residence, your tax, what you were based on to
Right.
meet it. It's pushing close to $300,000 now to
Wow.
meet. Well, you know, our budget is half of it's law enforcement.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, the more people come, the more law enforcement you need.
Sure.
The more roads you need. It's just like at home. If you start outgrowing your place, you've got to do something and to increase it.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to do what we're doing, and to, you know, build our roads bigger and better, and all the things that what we do. And and the road bond's the best way to do it. It's just that we're not increasing anyone's, you know, that it's a debt service is what we have.
Yeah, I think it's great. I do. I think
Yeah.
I voted for it.
Yeah, well,
So,
we
yeah.
do appreciate it when and the county is going to start seeing it. I mean, we're fixing to start putting new blacktop down here pretty pronto. you know.
Awesome.
Yeah.
So, Brian, can you speak of any specific jobs that are shovel ready to start throwing down some good old black sticky stuff?
Well, we have one that just came in actually this morning. That scope of work came through, and we're going to get one of the approved vendors to come out and bid on it, and that would be on Airport Road, 1484 and Airport Road.
Okay.
There's a new school that was built there, and there's a lot of traffic in that area, and a lot of growth, some new homes. And so that one's going to be probably within the next 30 days, it'll be starting
Ready to
shovel
go.
ready
That's
and,
cool.
and actually
Yeah.
laying asphalt down.
Yeah.
So
So do y'all have congestion problems with traffic? I mean, I know we do here in East County, but
Oh gosh, yes.
really.
Oh,
So this is going to
absolutely.
alleviate a lot of that.
Yeah, when I first took office 4 years ago, there's out on Airport Road, I call it, out by the house at Willis Waukegan. There's a red light there, and you're probably not familiar with that area, but you could be backed up over a mile in the morning time to get to Conroe or turn right on 2432 and go to Willis.
Yeah.
And I recognized it, and so I started working on the project, and it's a state road. So I went to the state with it, and they said, we don't have the money for it right now. But Robert, if you want to pay for it, we'll give you the permit.
Yeah.
So I had money left over from the 2015 road bond,
Okay.
that where we had what the state does on that road on 1097. We acquired property, and when the project finished, we got 90% of that funding back to our budget, our road and bridge budget. And so I had money for that, so I paid $1.2 million to build that turn lane onto Rose Road and that, and they're just it's amazing, but it took 4 years to do it, and it was a mile and some change long.
Wow.
I mean, just the
Yeah.
process. It didn't take them that long to build it, but it took almost 4 years to do, and it's just a slow process.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's, oh gosh. And if I hadn't have done that every day, everybody in the neighborhood out there is like, Robert, we can't even get to work. We can't get our kids to school. We can't, it just takes too long.
Sure. Yeah.
And but it's, man, we don't have any issues there now.
Hmm.
It just relieved, and it was dangerous, and and it's, when you get urgent and you're trying to get somewhere on a certain time, you do silly stuff sometimes, but anyway, we got that one fixed.
Yeah, and so much goes into play on engineering those, because you got to think about the ESDs, you got to think about emergency vehicles, emergency service, evacuations, all sorts of stuff.
What's happening and about your ESDs. I've just now have got the engineering department to send me every month all the new developments that have been passed through, and it's a statistic that's unbelievable. In Precinct 1 in June, we had 9 new developments in Precinct 1. You know how many y'all have over here in Precinct 4? 30 something, 32 or 35.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just crazy. But the worst part about it was they're just now, we've made them start giving us that information, and then I pass it along to the ESDs, because all these new neighborhoods, they've got fire protection for those areas.
Absolutely. It's important.
And they're constantly having to think about, oh my gosh, we're fixing to have to build a new fire station over here, because I mean, and they be just driving, and all of a sudden drive up on a subdivision that was built or building, and throwing, I wonder how many, so
Sure.
we're all getting together, and we're smarter, we're doing things better in a more efficient way, and it's better for the community all the way around.
I think so.
Oh, sure.
I've been to Commissioner's Court. It seems like a good group.
Yeah.
So I got a question for you that it's kind of off topic, but it's always something that I've been a little bit curious about. Is mosquito control something that's a county-wide project, or is that individual commissioners that handle that?
Very interesting question, because this was a main concern for me, and we just discussed this. As a matter of fact, Brian probably has a little better info on that, because they came into our office a couple of days ago.
Yesterday. Yes, it was yesterday. We had a meeting with them, and yes, it's countywide. All commissioners
Participate
in that financially.
Oh, okay.
And and it's, if I'm not mistaken, it's stationed more out under Commissioner Gray's area out here. But they are countywide, and they have stations set up everywhere as far as mosquito traps and all throughout the whole county, and they go check them, and they work with the state as far as checking to see if there's any West Nile
Right.
mosquitoes, and then, so they work closely with the state on that and collect these mosquitoes, and they were just talking about the spraying and
Okay.
the
Yeah, I didn't know if that was something that boiled down to the individual commissioner and just worked for his area and with his own budget and his own
Yeah.
planes or whatever
I
they
think
do when they
in-
spray.
I think in the past it had, but we've gotten so big, we combine it now, and the budget gives. How much was the total? 300,000 for that.
I think it was 150,000 apiece.
Okay,
yes,
so it was 600,000
Wow,
yes.
for a mosquito abatement throughout the county.
that's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
Yes, it is, but everything is very.
You give me a
expensive.
fly swatter and $100,000, and I'll knock them out.
This area here, unfortunately, everything that happens up north, rain-wise, comes here.
Runs right through us.
Because
Yeah.
me and Commissioner Gray are buddies, and I call him sometimes, say, "You got your rubber boots on? Because
Yeah.
it's coming, boy."
Yeah.
And he says, "I wear my rubber boots all the time."
Yeah.
Out here. But this area, my wife's kinfolk live in Grangerland, like I was telling you.
Mhm.
And gosh, you can't even go out on the porch in the evenings. The mosquitoes are so bad,
They haven't been bad. I need to
Hadn't
knock
been bad
on wood.
this
They
year.
haven't been bad this year.
Well, that's great.
So it's been almost awesome. I was even noticing that yesterday. I was like, it's just not that bad.
Yeah. Something that was told to me, I think it was Brian or might have been Cheryl. When we have these lots of flooding,
Mm-hmm.
that the areas that the mosquitoes breed in,
Mhm.
it flushes all those larvae
Out.
out.
So maybe Harris County's got it all.
Well, they may have a mosquito problem now, but it's good for you because
Yeah.
Now, what were they saying? They said when it gets whenever the rains quit coming, like we've been having, we've been having extremely, a rainy
Yeah,
season
it's crazy,
in
yeah.
June and first part of July.
Yeah.
But that was an interesting thing I had heard about that.
Maybe that's what it is.
It washes all the ditches,
Yeah.
all the bar ditches are holding water,
Yeah.
and that's where they breed, and so makes sense to me. But that was the first time I'd ever heard that.
Oh, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
I like it.
yeah.
Okay. Any specific plans for broadband, water, and I'm more interested in water than anything else, and utility infrastructure that's going on in Precinct 1?
Well, we just and they talked about it in court, I think, a little bit. No, it was the red lights. They were putting cameras and
Fiber optics and
fiber optics to
connecting
the.
all the lights.
But back when I first took office, we had some federal money,
Mhm.
and we put broadband to all our parks and stuff throughout, which we have. Is it 9 parks, I think, in Precinct 1.
Nice.
We
Yeah.
have 3 major
Good green spaces.
leagues.
Yeah.
Yes,
Awesome.
and they put all that fiber optic or whatever they use.
Mhm.
So if you're there with your family and your son's playing ball, but your daughter's bored stiff, she's just watching the game,
Mhm.
she can use Wi-Fi to do homework or whatever they
Yeah.
do with. But,
Awesome.
yeah, so I think all of ours have got it now. Didn't they?
I think we have a few that we're still waiting on. Most of them have been installed, but I think we have 2 or 3 still.
We have it
that
out at the
not.
county park, out at the convention center, out by the airport. They've always had terrible service out there. Well, now we have the broadband ability there. So, thank goodness for the federal government. Sometimes they do some good things, and sometimes they do idiotic things.
Yeah.
Broadband for the country.
Every once in a while they come around.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, we don't get on that soapbox for
Yeah.
sure.
So how about water? I know that there's some water concerns in Conroe. There's some
Yeah.
water concerns around.
Well,
and I know you guys don't necessarily manage that, but is there anything that the precinct does that may help or I'm
Not-
sure you're just staying
not
on top
really
of it, huh?
Water, we
Yeah.
are in constant contact with the San Jacinto River Authority, and I know
Good group?
everybody. Yeah,
Good
I know
group of
everybody in Conroe.
Yeah.
And what's basically what's happened? We're growing so fast. They just don't have water to supply for all the growth they've allowed to come in.
Right.
When you turn, I've got a friend that lives over on League Line and new home. His kids in the morning, the water won't turn on upstairs. They have to come downstairs to get ready to go to school.
Wow.
And it's just and there's plenty of water, but it's millions to dig that water well deep enough to that aquifer down there, and to bring it up. And they've just Conroe's my home. That's where I was born and raised.
Yeah.
But they've kind of gotten behind on that. But they're working.
I mean, the infrastructure wasn't designed for what we have now.
Absolutely
It just
not.
wasn't.
No, it
I mean,
wasn't.
we thought all this was going to be country, and
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
So that's what we built it all for.
That's right.
Now we're looking at, hey, we're a major metroplex, and we've got to start
They are
treating the infrastructure.
They're
like
right
it's
in the
one.
middle of getting funding to put in some new wells in
They
certain
need
areas.
money.
Yeah, they do.
They need
Yeah,
money.
and it's just and Conroe was the #1 city in the United States a few years ago. We used to do that when I do a PowerPoint.
Mm-hmm.
They're still right at the top, but they're not the #1
Yeah.
growing one right now. But
Right.
they don't need to be.
And I know the SGRA is attempting to help those guys out.
Sure.
So I'm excited about that. I think that's a good thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
those two have been butting heads for years over whatever.
I think it's chilling out and getting
Man,
better.
you got to grow up and just
You
we
know?
gotta help out the
Yeah.
community, and
That's it.
it's they gotta figure it out, and they will. They're a bunch of good people, so they'll
Okay.
figure it out.
What about economic development, Precinct 1?
It's happening. We don't really have to do anything. Let me
Really?
tell you something. People come to Montgomery County because it's the land of opportunity. Right
Oh, yeah.
now. I mean, we've got some of the finest infrastructure. I mean, our police, our fire departments.
Mm-hmm.
I said this when I was running. Our churches. We got the lake for entertainment. But the #1 reason people move to Montgomery County, business or just families, is because of the people that live here. They love Montgomery County. And
Oh, yeah.
I always tell them, when I go speak at a crowd, I tell them, I said, y'all going to have to start being a little meaner so people don't want to move here so
Yeah.
fast. But they love the people. And, I mean, you don't have to go to Houston anymore to make a living.
Right.
You can make a living in Montgomery County. It's
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, and Houston's realized you can make a living in
That's
Montgomery
right.
County, so they're coming here.
They're coming here
Yeah.
too. Yeah, we have
That's
the
it.
industrial park. We have
Yeah.
our airport is one of the major airports in the country.
Yeah.
It's growing, and I'm a big proponent of that airport for the future. And it's going to happen. It's a slow road, just like everything else that is government based. But yeah, they're coming. We don't have to do anything, honestly. People see it. They come here when they drive through. Just us driving here today. It's crazy what y'all got going on over here.
I know.
Nobody's out there with a
Unrecognizable.
flag say, "Come see us."
Yeah, it's
just-
unrecognizable.
yeah, people come here and they know good stuff. They see the community. They see what's happening, and they're coming.
We're building a big convention center, too.
Yeah.
That thing's going to be
Yeah.
huge.
Yeah.
So,
And I would also like to say that Commissioner is partnered with the Conroe Chamber of Commerce. So he does, he has the staff go to several ribbon cuttings.
Sure.
So he's very involved with new developments, new businesses,
cool.
and gives certificates for that at every one of them.
Yeah, it's amazing to me how many ribbon cuttings
Oh, yeah.
in a week.
Oh, I
I mean,
know.
it's not. I mean, it may not be but one this week, but it may be 5 the next week. It's here. I don't know what it is. We're like a magnet for people.
It's almost kind of scary when you think about it.
It is.
Because the jobs that we all have done community-wide
Right.
were easier.
Right.
But when you look at the fact that, this thing's going to expand by, 400% in the next couple of years.
Oh, yeah.
How are we going to do this?
Well, it's
How are we going to answer all
and
these questions?
I'm not saying I'm any smarter than anybody else, but I've always been a guy of vision. I don't want to have water around my knees before I recognize there's water coming.
Mm-hmm.
So I look out and see what's happening, and I try to build towards that with Precinct 1. I do, and I think all the other commissioners do the same thing, because it's you don't want to wait till you're knee deep in it and then go, well, maybe we should have thought about this 3 or 4 years ago. The problem with it is I see what we're experiencing and what's coming, but it takes money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
You don't build roads, you don't build infrastructure without money. And our
Right.
county infrastructure, we're probably 10 years behind on. Our jail is outdated.
Mm-hmm.
Our courthouse is the one that was built in the 40s. But it's a big chess game, and you got to learn how to play it good, or you better get out of it.
Yeah.
But
Well, I think you guys are doing an awesome job.
I think we got a good hand on it, and we got some smart people, and yep, we're in good shape. I do believe it.
So for the people that have never attended Commissioner's Court, my next question is, how do you coordinate with the other commissioners on projects that are countywide and such? Can you just explain a little bit about how Commissioner's Court works? It sounds like court. Sounds like you're going, somebody's going to get prosecuted or something like that, but it's really not that. I've seen that.
That's just a joke. Everybody, that's a joke. But, here's the deal. We can't, it would be so much better if our life as a commissioner, we could all four get in a room and discuss issues that come.
Right.
We can't do that because that is an ethics violation.
Correct.
So a lot of times we go to court, we haven't discussed anything, and so we don't even know what, we have to look at our agenda and plan for it. And that's a challenge because I'm not all right, make a decision like this. I like to roll it around and think about it and try to figure out if it's hard to make a quick decision like that. And sometimes you do, and then you back up and think, man, I shouldn't have done that,
Yeah.
But, and I guess if people wanted to come to court, you can watch it online.
Right.
But you can come, it's like watching a movie on TV at home and then going to the theater. It's a different experience.
Yeah, it really is.
You can breathe in the smell of the room, and you can see all the tension in the room, and we as a court, my goal is always to keep everybody where we're not just butting heads. It's like mom and daddy, they never fought in front of the kids,
Sure.
Us as commissioners we don't want to do that in front of the the public.
And everybody's vying for position. I can understand that.
Sure.
Because y'all need money, every one of you.
Yeah.
Y'all need different things from what Commissioner's Court can offer.
Yeah.
So
You've been in that room.
Yeah.
You feel it and you see it, and we have a good time.
Yeah.
We laugh and joke and
Right.
try to make it as pleasant as we can. It's big decisions, and big decisions can be made with a smile on your face, not a just button heads. But it's just like anytime anything on court comes up and they're needing money, their growth is killing us. Our IT department, our law enforcement, every department, everybody needs new people. Maybe need one hand or two hands. And we've only got so much money we can do that, with. So we're really challenged, and we're sympathetic to everybody's wants, but it's all about money. It's all about money.
100%.
Yep.
So you're 6 months into your second term?
Mm-hmm.
So what are your long-term goals for the precinct? Do you have any big, shiny, lofty goals that you'd like to see a golden calf in the middle of the Esplanade?
Well, everything I want, it takes money, so I'll just tell you that. But I do have some goals.
Okay.
We established a new tax office in Willis last year that we opened up.
Okay.
Which, everything on the north side of the lake, we don't have to go to Conroe now.
Awesome. Yeah.
And
that's
so
great.
they can, right there by the HEB on this side on 1097, it's a great location. They can do everything there that you can do in Conroe. And that was a big deal because, it was a challenge to find a place. And anytime we build anything now that people know it's government money, they charge us, they want to charge us higher price. And it started out that way there. And I told them, I said, y'all need to get in the truck and leave because I've been in the building business. I know what it's going to take to do what we're doing here, So, but we got a tax office done. I'm trying to work on a new office for Judge Mack in Montgomery. He's got an office in Willis and one in Montgomery, separation from the lake. And he's in a little shopping center down there, his office, and there's a gym in there, and he's got people that need to park, and it's a real challenge. And that's something I would like to see done before, I leave office.
Okay.
But, that's probably a 5-6 year build, by the time it goes through the process. And Constable 2, they're in a building that's been there since the 70s, and it's just packed like rats in a barn. They can't.
Right.
There's just too many. There's just too much. They don't have enough space, and I'm working on helping them try to get them a new building, and I'm sure all the other commissioners have buildings that need to be done.
Oh, sure.
And
yeah.
we're kind of the central part of it in Conroe, you know, is where, and there's just lots of stuff there. But we're going to work it out.
Yeah.
I have faith in it, you know.
And you guys are great about going and getting federal funding and state funding and
yeah.
grants and things like that.
Yeah,
So.
we're building a new community center right now that I've been. Gosh, how long we've been working on that community center? Over a year.
Over a year.
Where's it?
It's out by the airport, out
Awesome.
by the fairgrounds.
Really?
Yeah, it's going to be we've got a big one in Montgomery. We've got a big one in Willis. And then this one will be on the east side.
Okay.
And what it does, it allows our residents that can't afford a big facility. You know, they have these big event centers everywhere, but they're so expensive.
Yeah, they're high dollar. That's
And-
for sure.
And this community center, they can rent it, and we got a big grand room, and it's going to be nice.
Wow.
Yeah, and
When's it set for completion?
we just got a new date. Brian, can you?
Yes, sir. It's going out for bid. We should hopefully have all the bids back by the end of July. So
Okay.
hopefully mid-August, maybe September. Hopefully start breaking ground.
Wow.
So,
Yeah,
Okay.
it's a beautiful facility. It's going to be nice, and it's federally funded. You know, grant
Awesome.
money.
There you go.
Yeah, it's
Government's good for something.
yeah. Well,
They got that printing press. They could print up whatever they need.
I wish they'd print some more and throw it down this way. But you know, they in reality, ARPA. You know, when we got all that money,
Right.
they gave us some more money for stormwater. So we went through the community, and I know Matt did over here. Well, all of us did.
Sure.
And we changed out old pipes that have been there since the beginning of time, actually when roads were there. And so we've improved our drainage and just that ARPA money we used for multiple things, you know, improving our building structures around the office. And I helped Tammy McCrae build a little parking lot downtown in her office. You know, that's the old library when we were kids.
Yeah.
You been here all your life?
I've been here a long
Have
time.
you?
That's for sure. I don't want to give away how old I am. I've been here a while.
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah.
I know it.
You also, one of the big things you did with some of the ARPA money was the Montgomery ESD mobile unit.
Oh yeah,
The mobile command
we
unit?
got that mobile command unit. Yes, that was a big deal. We used it on the fire that.
Is that the one that Jason Millsaps is in charge of?
Well,
drives
Jason's
around?
got one too.
Okay.
But this one we built one for North County and then South County.
Okay.
And so Millsap has that one,
Yeah.
and they keep it out there by the airport. And then
Is it
ours,
similar?
very similar.
Okay.
That one is a little bit bigger.
I think it's huge.
Yeah, ours. But it was all federally funded, and it can be used. Ours and Jason's as well can be used anywhere in Montgomery County
Okay.
or adjacent counties. If Walker County called us and said, "Man, we got a bad," it's coming. We'll send it up there to them.
Awesome.
Because it's air conditioned. It's got places for the constables, the sheriff's department,
Mm-hmm.
the fire departments. It's a cooling area for if they get too hot up in the front. They can. It's very nice. It's
Yeah,
very-
mobile command centers are smart.
Oh,
it's
my
just
gosh.
it's what you need.
Well,
Because you never know.
spent money.
You never know what's going to be damaged or what's going to happen, and to be able to pull that thing up, park it, get everybody involved, get them all communicating on the same page.
And everybody knows right where to go.
Yeah.
You know, when you're SO and everybody's out there, they know the command unit is over here,
Slick.
and there are people in that. Oh yeah, it's first class.
That's just good business.
Yes, it is.
You
Yes,
know?
it is. Well spent money.
Find another county that does as good as we do.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
It's scary.
You give us $1, we can buy $5 worth of stuff.
That's right.
That's it. That's
Thrifty
it.
with a nickel. That's what we are for
That's
sure.
it. So, average guy, how would they reach your office? So, best to go through the website. Is there a phone number? Is there
Yeah.
email addresses?
Phone
What do
number
we got?
is 936-539-7815. They can just call
Okay.
and say what they'd like to do. I take care of his calendar. So if their needs can't be assessed by him right away, we give it to staff. That's what he has most of us for. So easy to reach, easy to get in touch with, easy to get an appointment with if somebody really needs it.
Yeah, that
Okay.
calls our main office, and Kayla answers the phone, and then she directs it to whoever accordingly. And we have a work order system. That, if somebody has a bad spot in the road or any issues, and our website is what?
That's I think it's on mctx.org, but it's mctxcommPCT1.
Yeah.
That's a little
And
That's
lengthy.
a mouthful right there, isn't it?
I know.
And the web is the email is probably the best for after hours because obviously we don't have 24 hours.
Right.
You know,
Okay.
someone answering the phone. So anytime after hours, if they can't get us, on the phone, please send us an email. We do respond to them. We do reply
Okay.
back in a quick manner and get the help that they need. So happy to do
Fantastic.
that.
And our office is
Great.
staffed 5 days a week.
Okay.
You know, our men in the back that work, they're on 410s.
Okay.
But we're always working. So we have them, their shifts layoffs. You know, some are off on Monday, some are off on Friday.
I
But
get it.
our office staff is there every day of the week,
Okay.
except Saturday and Sunday.
Fantastic.
And we take requests everywhere you can think of: social media, email, phone calls.
However, it comes
However
in.
they need to get a hold of us,
Yeah.
we'll make it happen.
Long as they don't write it on a rock and throw it through the window.
That's right.
That's right.
And we'll probably still
Yeah.
respond on that too.
All right. Well, Commissioner, I've got a new thing that I'm doing on this show, and I hope that you'll participate.
You bet.
So my last guest was Sarah Kuba, and she is the general manager of the Lone Star Groundwater Conservation District.
Okay.
And what I'm asking my guest to do is to provide a piece of advice for a future guest. They don't know who it is. So she didn't know who she was going to be providing this advice to. And I hope that you'll do the same thing for my next guest coming forward. Her advice was to stay optimistic. She said, he sees all things that are good to those who love him, and you can always try again tomorrow. So that's the advice from Sarah Kuba to whomever wants to take that with them. But I hope that maybe after the show you'll write down something
Sure.
for my next guest.
You
It'd be
bet.
awesome. I appreciate you guys coming in. This was good.
Yeah.
And I had fun. I learned a little bit of
Yeah.
something. The cool part about this show is I always learn something about
yeah.
it. You know, as soon as I start thinking, well, I know a lot about this kind of stuff now, I'm always pick up on something new.
Grandmother always said, when you quit learning, it's time to go to heaven.
That's it. And I don't
We
want to
ain't ready yet.
No.
That's my story.
I still got stuff to do.
That's me too. I'm
That's
not
it.
ready, but we really appreciate it. And you're sometimes you go to things like this and you don't know whether they're going to be trying to attack
Sure.
you or
Yeah,
what.
you don't know. Yeah.
And unknowingly, but we felt really good about it. And
Good.
You're a great guy.
Well, thanks.
I would recommend anybody that you want to get some information.
Well, I got a
out of.
paper here. You can leave me a list of names.
We appreciate the hospitality. You've been
No
great.
problem.
So
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah, thanks.
Yeah, for the donuts and the coffee.
There you go.
Yeah,
we aim to please.
That's a good way to get me to come somewhere. Tell me there's going to be donuts.
That's it. Food always brings them in.
and everybody knows I don't need it too. So,
There you go.
but anyway, thanks again. We appreciate it.
No problem. Thanks a lot,
Yeah,
Commissioner.
You bet.
All right, guys. Well, there you have it. Commissioner Robert Walker. He's Precinct 1. He's a part of a group that's an amazing bunch. If you guys haven't been to Commissioner's Court, it's every other Tuesday, I believe, at 10 a.m. And so show up, check it out. It's worth going to. If you don't go, you can always watch it online. You can catch it at mctx.org. And, just click on live viewing, I believe is what it is. I'll leave a link to it in the description. I'm Hank Vatt. This is Hank's Think Tank, and we'll see you in the next one. I got a busy schedule, so we're going to be doing a lot of these. See you later. Thanks. Thanks a lot.